O'Brien.
What is going on, everybody? This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show. I hope you all have had a fantastic day so far. Give me a second here. Okay, let's take a look right now. The SPY is trading off about 0.31%. Okay, so what do we got cracking today? And really the big thing is this kind of reaction to yesterday with the Fed, right? That movement to the upside didn't make, I really think, too much sense. Now I'm looking at Oscar Health, we'll talk about that. Now, obviously it's not giving back as much as it, moved up yesterday, which is somewhat all right. We might still finish this week on a green weekly candle, although I will say that I think move this to the week. I mean, the volume is not bad either. Okay, so you are testing kind of well, we're gonna see, I guess, with the volume on it this week. If this is good volume moving up, okay, per Tim Ord, and really per kind of volume analysis in general, you might be actually achieving at least some kind of consolidation or sideways movement. This is what I kind of see. I think probably right now the bottom is a little bit in. It's going to be really dependent on the volume on this kind of recovery a little bit over the past few days. Not moving too much. Obviously, there's been a lot of volatility. I think yesterday was really not good at all. But the fact that the market is not reacting very negatively, the fact that the 10-year rate seemed to be holding on that lower down move is a positive thing. So given that, I do think we probably have consolidation going on at this time. Any other kind of movements, like in, let's say, particular equities, are probably going to be dependent on, let's say earnings. We're definitely waiting for Tesla earnings, not thinking that it's going to be super good for them in any way. We were talking about earlier today in the den as well, and I know I've been harping on Tesla, but I have seen a lot of people and heard a lot of people, influencers, videos on TikTok or whatever it might be, of people saying, hey, this is the bottom in Tesla, keep buying, it's gonna go right back up. In fact, I'm probably gonna make a TikTok for this, and it is crazy how important it is to make TikToks. But listen, look, we're closing, we did tap it, right? I think a low we had was 217.69 or something along those lines. I am moving back to April. There's a gap up there. I'm really looking at 170, 180 for this, at least in the near term. One of the things we were talking about in the den was, of course, probably gapping back to that April level, which is a little bit lower than my price target of 170. But giving it some grace for that. But one of the things that was very unique for its earnings, right, where you kind of have a pretty big gap up there, which I thought was ridiculous, was this mark-to-marketing of Bitcoin. And that did help them out. At least, it was, in my opinion, it's an illusion, right? But it did help them out. And one of the things that I said that exact day, because I was miffed because I was short Tesla, ended up doing okay because went a little bit longer, but I had a TSLQ holding, leveraged ETF, and I was a little bit annoyed because none of that seemed good at all. And I was saying, if they report again, and their Bitcoin value is down, like this helped them now, they voluntarily decided to mark to market, right? They were required to do it starting 2025, but they decided to do it voluntarily for this earning. I said that it's going to harm them, right, if Bitcoin's lower. And you might see Bitcoin being a lot lower than it was at that date. And I think, again, while it doesn't necessarily matter in my opinion, I guess it is good to know what the exposure of certain companies are with Bitcoin. I think a lot of companies were kind of buying Bitcoin as a way to ride a hype, get more investors into it, and really more speculators. Cooler, KULR, is a huge, I guess, doer of this, which I really didn't like. This is off 5.83%. They do cooling tech for like batteries, I think for things in space as well. Of course, if Benchmark reiterating a $5 price target, I don't really see that. They are growing quite rapidly, but I think they only had something about like 2.83 million in revenue. And you're looking at a market cap of 328 million, and I think there are other cooling technologies as well. This is one that was really getting speculated on, but again, they did the Bitcoin thing, right? Like, hey, we have a bunch of Bitcoin, and because Bitcoin was valued so highly, right, it shot up. Yeah, and it's not really realized, so I don't, in my opinion, I think that adds a little bit, it's a little bit too convoluted. It is good to know what the exposure is, I would say, but I think this is going to be an issue for Tesla going forward. Additionally, with Tesla, they had to recall 9,000 Cybertrucks due to panel issues. Okay, that happens all the time with recalls, but that is quite a large number. Definitely the ones that they had sold from November to, I believe, January, all of those are recalled. One of the other things I was saying with Tesla, and I actually had an acquaintance of mine kind of bring it up. It's like, well, listen, they're going to get government contracts. And this is where you start having to look at what is the market cap, what is their total revenue versus what are these contracts going to be, right? And this is that $400 million contract that they got from the military. People have been pointing to that, and my acquaintance pointed to this as well. And it's like, that is over 5 years. That's not a lot of, so what, I don't know, 80 million or something like that over 5 years. That's nothing on revenue when you really consider what this stock is trading at, and I don't know. I think they're in a really tough situation. I think the investigation from Canada is going to be bad for them. I'm not sure they'll be able to compete. It seems like things are not super bad for so China might be a little overstated, and what I mean by that is they did have that. They're revamping one of their models that are very popular in China, and that did affect sales somewhat. Or at least it'll affect it more this next quarter, and that might rebound a little bit. But I do think, again, as we've been saying, especially with Nike, which has earnings today, the Chinese have started developing this kind of national identity. And just how we wanted to, buy American and all that kind of stuff, the Chinese want to do the same thing. And Tesla is still viewed, this is a sentiment review, I guess it's still viewed positively, but other things such as like XPeng, BYD, these are a little bit more attractive right now, especially given that kind of more development of a national identity and consumption. So, 233, I still think is pretty high. I think 751 billion market cap is still very high. You're trading at 1.3 trillion at the beginning of this year. It is unbelievable. We'll talk just a little bit more about it when we get back, and then we're gonna move on. I know people are probably sick of listening to Tesla.